What's on the moon? This week I had an opportunity to speak with somebody who's been to the moon on 3 separate occasions, and the data he brought back is astounding. Hi there, Truth Seekers. Dennis Nappy II here with 6th Sense Media and host of the Seiker Podcast, sitting here at the Outer Banks with the bright sun, hence the sunglasses and the wind to my back and the ocean waves crashing. It's a beautiful sight here. An opportunity to speak with Daz Smith. Daz is what some would call one of the world's best remote viewers out there. For those of you not familiar with remote viewing, it's a process by which somebody can go beyond the 6 senses and obtain data. Now, it's not just throwing down tarot cards or reading tea leaves, but it's a strict set of protocols developed by the Stanford Research Institute in the 70s and adopted by the Central Intelligence Agency in the United States military, and was funded for about 20 years through the government. It's a proven technique with real measurable results. Now, Daz Smith has been tasked over the past 10 years to view anomalies on the moon on 3 separate occasions. And every time he and other viewers on the project who were blind to that project, meaning they had no idea what they'd be looking at, they didn't even know it was on the moon, but each time they brought back consistent data. Now, we often see reports on the internet of anomalies on the moon. What's interesting is that those pictures later come out after NASA goes through and scrubs them, and the anomalies are no longer there, or they've been obviously doctored or blurred out. Daz shares some of his experience and the data he got when he looked at a long cigar-shaped object found on the moon. And what his data tells us is that there is potentially a craft, a cigar-shaped craft parked there, and it has been for quite some time. We discuss where this craft may have come from and what implications that could have for humanity and for our own history. Now, let's think about that for a minute with a discovery such as that. If they were to find an ancient spacecraft parked on the moon with technology that far exceeds our own, what would that tell us about ourselves? This is something that's important for us to consider, and I want us to consider remote viewing data as an important piece in our overall news consumption and analysis, because it is reliable, it is accurate, and people have been relying on this type of information for quite some time. In my book, Food for the Archons, yes, here's my next plug, my friends. In Food for the Archons, I do explore remote viewing in quite some detail. I go over some case studies showing the reliability of it. My hope is that people will start to look at remote viewing data as something we can use and depend on going forward in our future filled with fake news and propaganda. Remote viewing is one tool among others that we can use to weed through all the junk that has been thrown at us on a regular basis out there. I hope you'll take the time to tune in to Daz's interview. It's available through the Seiker Podcast at 6sensemedia.net and anywhere else you get your podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, and of course on SoundCloud. It was a fun interview, a great discussion with Daz as we followed up to our previous conversation, which is also available through the podcast, talking about his Jedi training, where he details his journey learning to become the psychic that he is today, the remote viewer that he is today. Back to Food for the Archons. I hope you'll check out your pre-order today. It's available for just $7.99 as this project prepares to launch on July 24th. Again, it's exploring the potential of human consciousness to access information beyond the 5 senses via an electromagnetic field and the manipulation of that field by an unseen and unknown predator and parasite. That's all the time I got now, my friends. I'm Dennis Nappy II with 6th Sense Media. Remember to never stop questioning, keep an open mind, and let your intuition be your guide. Thanks for watching.